change. There's still white people dictating the destiny of humanity under a different political ideology. That's the reality. Mao wrote the Red Book of Socialism. Mao was a racist against the Tibetans, which are darker Chinamen. Mao was more of a lighter Chinaman. The Tibetans are dark. The Dalai Lama looked like a dark African person. The Dalai Lama is very melanated. The Tibetans are more melanated. Look at some of the Shaolin monks. They look just like us. The same complexion. The Chinaman, the light Chinaman, attacked the original Aboriginal Mongoloid. The Mongolian. He attacked the Mongolian, the darker Asiatic man. And he did it under a socialistic reality. They oppressed the Tibetans and ran them out of China. Ran the Dalai Lama out and took the sovereignty of the Tibets and ran the Dalai Lama to India. So how are you going to tell me about Mao and socialism when there's racism and socialism and communism?
Was it based on racism, or was it based on the fact that they were a religious group of people, and and Mao and them was, you know, anti-religious and all that? So since they were such a religious people, I thought basically Mao was disgusted with, you know what I mean?
If he was disgusted at Christianity,
how come most of the Chinese are Buddhists? That's religion.
Right. If he was against Christianity, and they were Buddhists, if he was against religion, he'd attack Christianity. He would attack Islam in China. You see the point I'm making? He attacked the Tibetans, which was far off, and really they were no threat to the Chinese society.
Okay.
He had no reason to really attack them. They were a small independent group that had their own little area, their own land, and they had practiced their own religions and traditions and customs. They were no threat to Chinese society. He had bigger threats within his country.
Yeah.
He attacked them because they were melanated people. And the caste system in India is the same caste system in China, which is why the darker Asian people are looked down upon. The Vietnamese. Do you see the point I'm making? They look down upon. They never show no dark Asians. Go to Chinatown and look on their TV. Do you see any dark Asians? But pick up a geography book. They'll show you many black Chinamen. Many. You see all these Chinatowns. How many Japantowns do you see? It's 2 or 3 Chinatowns in Chicago. Where's Japantown? Where the darker people are at. Do you understand the point I'm making? So this racism of the pale man on the earth versus the Nubian, the melanated person, exists in all systems and governments. So you cannot destroy that by destroying the political system. Because it's not systems that enslave people. It's men do. Didn't no system hang black people. You understand what I'm making? It was not a system that hung them. It was a man with an attitude and a mindset. And to that man and his attitude and mindset change, or he is destroyed, or we're able to protect ourselves from him, there will be no change. And the change of a political system is not a revolution. It's just another way of changing the power structure. Just like you say, well, you got a Republican and you got a Democrat. The same thing. If it's a white racist as a Democrat, he's a white racist as a Republican.
Yeah.
It just don't mean they're just playing with terminologies to sugarcoat the real nature and the psychology of man.
You think Ralph Nader proved that?
Come on. So my point is, socialism is not going to revolt and change the European nature of the people. Now we look at Cuba and we look at Che Guevara. And you say, well, man, they did revolt, and they revolted against the European. But when you look at Cuba, you see Che Guevara, you see Fidel Castro. But what about the Afro-Cuban population? They made no contribution to the revolutionary struggle. So the only ones we see are the white ones, Fidel Castro and Che Guevara. I wonder why we accept them. And we can't name not one other Afro-Cuban revolutionary. Say how many African, he went to the Congos. I don't see people wearing Patrice Lumumba shirts.
Right.
Do you understand the point I'm making? I don't see us upholding Patrice Lumumba, and he was a revolutionary in the Congo, an African revolutionary. And there are many African revolutionaries that revolted against white supremacy. I see none of our people supporting them, or I even have knowledge of them. So what I'm saying is that the same mentality, yes, we can use Cuba as an example of revolting and getting their independence from the European. But you don't see the same social caste reality being projected? The same thing. People don't even know there are dark Cubans. They think of Cuban, they think of a light. You see what I'm making? And the majority of Cubans are dark. And Che Guevara was not even a Cuban. He was Argentinian. So he was closer towards the Europeans than Cubans, than the black. The Cubans are closer to blacks. The Argentinians are closer to Europeans. So look at that. Even an Argentinian or European had to come and be a Messiah in Cuba. The white man had to come and be a Messiah in Cuba. He was not from Cuba. But he had to go and be a Messiah for the Cubans. This Argentinian, that Jesus has come. Che Guevara. Same thing in Africa. Now to me, Che Guevara as a man is a very high model of a revolutionary. He defines what a revolutionary is. But can I overlook the racial implications that are embedded within our revolutionary struggle as a people? I cannot. I see the same caste system and the same caste mentality. When I go and say, most of our leaders are like Ben Amin, Farrakhan, Bob Marley, Jeremiah Wright, Barack Obama. All of our head-out figures are lighter people. That is the caste system in America, the same caste system that was in India millions of years ago. The same caste system that had the Krishna people teaching that the Aryan race was the pure race of people and the original race. This is what the Krishna people teach, which is where your Aryan brotherhood comes from, because they take the teachings of the original Aryan race, the Indo-Iranian or Aryan. They take that, and that's the basic foundation of the Aryan nation, that we are the pure white race. And that's taught in Hinduism. Ain't that deep? The whole caste system in India is based upon the pure Aryan man. That's deep. So my point is, if the social structure change and we get a new political system, we will not change the racist mind of Europeans. The only protection against their mind in any political system is to love ourselves more. To love and identify with our black people, with our black leadership, to get the Willie Lynch out of our blood. That's the only solution. To begin to love and accept our own. To really learn and come to know about our people and not know about them from some historical fantasy, but to see their strategies and their methodologies and apply them today. They built a pyramid, we can build a pyramid. If the Mahdi from Africa was able to cut Gordon's head off and protect Sudan from British imperialism, the Sudanese beat the British.
Right.
If he can come and do that, how do we study and learn from those black messiahs?
That's why they're so dark still to this day.
Come on. And nobody will mention.
Right.
He was the Nat Turner of Sudan. Literally. That cut off the head of the British general and hung his head up. And the flag of the Mahdi was the red, black, and green flag, which is where Marcus Garvey adopted it from. He got it from Martin Delany. He learned from Deuce Ali as well. But it connected. That's the Sudanese flag. The red, black, and green flag. Sud means black. Like Saudi Arabia. Sudan is the land of the black people. That flag was the Sudanese flag at the time of the Mahdi, when he took over, when he ruled the land. So we are celebrating our black greatness from a historical perspective, but of being able to apply that and not just putting these ancient people on pedestals, but identifying and really relating to them and beginning to love our people. That's the only way we're going to throw off white supremacy. And they say, well, the socialist lady said, I want to create a government where the worker class, the worker, proletariat, if this is how she worded it, can now become the working class can become a dictatorship. I said, what about the non-working class? What about the people that's not going to work for this damn devil? You mean the people who are the working class that's going to work for this European society or going to work for this institutionalization? Going to rule over everybody? I said, this sounds like nonsense to me. Because who getting the jobs? So if the socialists talk about the worker class going to rule, they're not talking about us. Because we don't have enough of the damn jobs. So that don't sound good to me. The worker class. We're going to create a dictatorship of the worker class. Challenge what these people are saying. When you really look at it and listen to them and break down what they say, it sounds good if you don't know. We're going to create the working class going to rule. Who are you talking about? I said, what about the poor people? Oh, they're somehow included in there. This is her exact words. They fit in there somehow. What are you talking about? Our people are the poor people by majority, without the jobs. So if the worker class rule, who's going to rule? Same white boy who giving out the jobs. Who's control? They say, well, the farmer going to rule. Well, who owned the damn farmland? They stripped the farmland from the black owners a few years back. So if the worker class is ruling it, we're going back to plantation slavery again now. Because whoever owned the farmland create the workers, right? So the worker class is the people who what? Work the farms and work on the farms, whoever control the land. Back to white supremacy again. So add up and see where they really going with these philosophies and theories and challenge them and see what sense does this really make. I just really asked them. And I says, how are you going to create a revolution? She said, well, we're going to hand this paper out. And if you just help us hand out this worker paper, we're going to wake the people up and they're going to become conscious. I said, you pray. I might as well be Christian with what you're talking about. Any revolution used strategy and methodology that was specific. They had a specific methodology to get things from one point to another. If you don't have that, you're not talking about really creating revolution. You're giving me romanticism and sensationalism and idealism if you don't really have a strategy of how you're going to bring about revolution. You can't tell me you're just going to hand this paper out. I said, what dramatic change have you seen in society? And I said, you can mention anything. I'll give it to you. Whatever you can mention. What dramatic change have you seen in society since y'all been distributing this newspaper? She could not name one thing that they had seen from the distribution of that newspaper. I said, what revolutionary change did you see? Because I ain't seen none since y'all been out here. She couldn't mention anything. So I said, how is that an effective strategy? I agree with you. We need a change in the system. But you know what? We need an effective strategy to bring about change, or otherwise it's nothing but a religion. If we can't effectively institute things to bring about real change, that's religious. They say we don't believe in God. We're socialists. There is no God. But we're praying to Marx and Lenin. And we can't think outside of the white supremacist attitude of these socialistic and communistic thinkers. You're still practicing ancestral worship when you keep chanting Marx and Lenin. You understand what I'm making? Karl Marx, Karl Marx, Karl Marx. You're still practicing ancestral worship. This is very religious. Because if I mention something that Karl Marx didn't say, or people are like, oh, I don't know, that's not according to revolutionary strategy. Well, when did they monopolize thought? And knowledge, and wisdom, and understanding? Who has a monopoly on that? How can a dead man monopolize living thought? It's impossible. So they're practicing an ancestral ritual telling you that we don't believe in God. But you keep chanting the names of your great thinkers. That's a God. African religion, what they do is they turn their ancestors to gods. That's what the European did. When he say our people are the founding fathers of America. And they keep mentioning George Washington. And they take a day and celebrate. Christianity has a Sabbath where they say we're going to worship, what's it, the Church of Latter-day Saints? No, the Seventh-day Adventists. They say they're going to worship the Sabbath and some of the Hebrews. But this white boy worships George Washington's birthday. He worships Lincoln's birthday. He got several days